This is Cloris Leachman. She can't be replaced. Mel Brooks is talking about the actor Cloris Leachman in this way. She was in some of his funniest films. In 1971, one movie scene caused the biggest debate in the history of American movies. Cities all over the country did not let anyone show the movie. In Phoenix, Arizona, it was against the law to show. Texas then made their own rule. Faith-based groups said it was bad for kids' minds. Thank goodness the federal courts stepped in to protect free speech, but the woman who caused the problem wouldn't say sorry. Why am I here? Sorry about that. Why do I have to say sorry to you all the time, you little jerk? She said what she said about women was true. There was more than one scene in the battle. It was about how America's standards were changing, and she was in charge. Her birthday is April 30, 1926, and she was born in Des Moines, Iowa. She was the middle child of 3 girls. The Leachman Lumber Company was run by her dad Buck. He and his brother started it in 1921. Things changed, though, when the stock market crashed in 1929. Cloris was only 3 years old when things began to go wrong in her family. Their timber business took a big hit during the Great Depression. And getting money became hard every day. They lived in a simple house close to Roosevelt High School. Cloris wanted to play the piano, but they couldn't afford one. Cloris practiced on a piece of cardboard that her mother had drawn with piano keys on it. She was that driven even when she was a kid. Cloris joined the Des Moines Community Playhouse when she was 11 years old. She played the lead in Wildness during the 1941-42 season and had great timing for being so young. In order to keep doing theater, she babysat for money. After the Great Depression, when her dad's business was barely making it through, Cloris never missed a practice. She felt like that theater was her second home. A lot of years later, the Playhouse made an award in her honor for young actors who work hard like she did. Cloris had her own radio show when she was 17 and still in high school. She gave women in Des Moines tips and advice on how to run their homes. But that wasn't her first job. She actually began even earlier, on a radio show for kids at age 11. While she was on the radio, she kept acting in neighborhood plays, which helped her get better at timing and delivery. She would become one of the most honored women in Emmy history thanks to those skills. She tied Julia Louis-Dreyfus for 8th place with 8 wins. Something happened to her in 1946 that made her life different. She put herself in the Miss Chicago beauty pageant. She didn't even wash her hair for it. She won in the end, which sent her to Atlantic City for the Miss America pageant. She was 5 feet 4 inches tall and played a piece from Grieg's Piano Concerto to make it to the final 16. She didn't get the crown, but she did get something better. A grant of $1,000. It's worth around $14,000 now. This money meant a lot to a girl who used to play the piano on pieces of cardboard. It helped her get to New York City. There, in 1947, she was in the very first class at the Actors Studio, where Elia Kazan taught her. Marlon Brando trained there too. That first year, only 50 of the 700 people who applied were chosen. After that, Kazan put her in a show on Broadway called Sundown Beach. She turned him down several times because she thought his flat would be too messy. Besides, he flirted with everyone. The things she learned there changed the way she behaved for the rest of her life. Back in 1950, Cloris got a part in the movie comeback, Little Sheba. She was praised by many. Then something crazy took place. She was asked to try out for As You Like It by Katharine Hepburn. Cloris had to decide whether to do a show with a proven hit on Broadway or try something new with Shakespeare and Hepburn. She went with Hepburn. It was risky, but it paid off. Broadway had the show for 6 months, and Cloris became one of the most talked about new performers in town. In 1955, she made her first movie. With Kill Me Now. She played a mystery woman named Christina Bailey. In the movie's opening scene, she is seen barefoot and scared. People were shocked by what happened. It cost $425,000 to make the movie, which was shot in just 21 days. After that, it made $726,000 and caused so much trouble that the Senate called it out for possibly hurting kids' heads. but it became a classic over time. It was added to the National Film Registry in 1999. Cloris got married to George England in 1953. When they met, he was already married and had kids as a movie director. They had 5 kids together. Back then, it was very hard to be a mother and an actress at the same time. A lot of people thought that women would stop working after having kids. Cloris didn't stop, though. At a party that same year, she put George in touch with Marlon Brando. Next, they went into business together after becoming best friends. They even went on vacation with Brando to his private island in Tahiti and became friends with Shirley MacLaine, Paul Newman, and Judy Garland. But Cloris still had to fight for every part, even though she had famous friends. This was especially true when she was pregnant. Things changed again in 1970. When she became Phyllis Lindstrom on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. She played Mary's landlord who was too smart for her own good. For having the nerve to stay here after what you did was so embarrassing. Folks either liked Phyllis or didn't like her, but nobody could avoid her. She won back-to-back Emmy Awards in 1974 and 1975 because Cloris made her so funny and brave. She wasn't at all like the sweet or motherly women who usually played those parts on TV back then. Phyllis was annoying, had strong opinions, and was easy to forget. CBS gave Cloris her own show in 1975, which was called Phyllis. It happened after the character's husband died and she moved to San Francisco with her daughter. At that time, the show talked about tough subjects. CBS almost didn't show an episode about teen sexuality because it caused so much trouble. Cloris did win a Golden Globe for Best Actress, though. 2 older cast members died less than a month after shooting a key episode, which was a sad event for the show. Several of the players also got sick, and the show ended in 1977. It got the 40th best grade. The ABC movie A Brand New Life, which played on February 20th, was one of her most powerful roles. 1973, after 18 years of marriage, she played a woman who finds out she's pregnant. Having a child later in life can be a surprise, and the movie was honest about those things. Another Emmy was given to her for her work. Many people think she won the award in 1975, but it was actually for this 1973 movie because they get the date wrong. She had a wardrobe disaster at the 2006 Emmy Awards when her dress tore right before she went on stage. It needed to be sewn up quickly. Cloris worked as Beverly and Stickle on The Facts of Life from 1986 to 1988. She took over for Charlotte Rae, who had been her flatmate at Northwestern in college. Rae had even suggested that she play the part. Both of their personalities were a little bossy and dramatic, but they were always memorable. It was getting old for the young group, and the show was losing its edge. But NBC was shocked that it still did well with viewers, so they gave it one more season. The part where Beverly adopted a boy named Andy, played by Mackenzie Aston, was very moving. Then there was the 1983 woman who wished for a miracle. May Lemke, played by Cloris, was a foster mother who wouldn't give up on Leslie Lemke, a blind crippled boy. Brain damage meant the boy in real life couldn't walk or talk for years. But May kept working with him and found out that he was really good at music. It got 4 Emmys, a Peabody, and a Christopher Award because it was so moving. In her book from 2009, Cloris said that this was the best performance she had ever done. It was 1945 years old for Cloris Leachman, when she did something that made Hollywood jump. In the last movie, she stripped down to nothing for a scene in the bedroom with Timothy Bottoms, a 21-year-old character. She played Ruth Popper, a middle-aged woman who was lonely and stuck in a bad marriage. There is a teen boy in the story who she sleeps with. But it wasn't just the age difference or the fact that they were naked that shocked people. It was how real and raw the scene seemed. Ruth broke down in tears after they were done having sex. She didn't try to hide anything or look pretty when she cried in bed. No one thought that a woman her age would do something like that in a Hollywood movie. Cloris didn't mind doing that scene, even though most actors would have said no. Peter Bogdanovich, the director, told her it was fine to take off her clothes. She was interested in the truth at that time. People all over the country were very upset about that scene. It showed more feeling in 2 minutes than most films do in 2 hours. Phoenix, Arizona, decided not to show the movie at all in 1973. It was said to be against the law, so drive-in theaters had to stop playing it and Columbia Pictures had to take the movie off the market. Then they had to go to court to get it shown again. Texas came next. And in Louisiana, the district attorney tried to stop tests as well. People were angry about more than just Cloris' bedroom scene. A lot of people were also very angry about the Sybil Shepherd strip scene. Some religious groups said the whole show was bad for you. Some people thought it would make kids bad and lose their morals. In the end, though, federal judges said the movie wasn't inappropriate. Freedom of speech in films reached a new high point with that decision. It wasn't just one movie that caused the fight. It was about how the rules from the 1950s crashed into the new world of the 1970s. Then the Oscars came around. For Best Supporting Actress, Cloris walked on stage on March 27, 1972, to accept her award. She wasn't the kind of person who would give a short, polite thank you speech. She said that her life was great and that it wasn't over yet. After that, she thanked people from her past. Her piano master. Her dad, Buck Leachman, taught her how to dance and paid for everything. People in the crowd clapped because they knew what that meant during the Great Depression. After that, she got sad. Her voice broke. Her mother had a vivid mind and a funny but strange sense of humor, she said. That wasn't a film star speech. It was messy, real, and odd. Some people thought it was strange. But at that very moment, Cloris showed everyone who she really was. She wasn't afraid to fight back either behind the scenes. When Bogdanovich suggested that Cloris use a body double, he flatly said no. It was impossible for her to do, she said. That moment wasn't a lie, she wanted people to see the truth. She wanted to run through the scene again. Bogdanovich said no, though, because he thought too much practice would make it less effective. The argument made things worse in the scene. It was said that there were fights on set, but Cloris later said it was worth it. She said it was all artistic truth. It was her belief that Ruth Popper should be fully seen, both mentally and physically. That choice changed the way Hollywood saw women in their 40s and 50s in films. Her showing also led to bigger arguments all over the United States. People were shocked to see a woman in her 40s show so much pain, need, and desire on TV. Churches spoke out against it. Parents didn't go. Some movie theaters were picketed. At one point, Cloris was seen as a safe actress who was good with kids. Now, she was seen as scary. But the truth is that she made it possible for other women to play honest, strong parts. Things changed after seeing the movie. No longer could people hide everything behind nice smiles. It was finally time for something real. Cloris didn't stop there, either. Toy Story came out in 1974, and she played Frau Blucher. Equine screamed in the background every time her name was called. It turned into a joke. Everything about her, her speech, her timing, and the way she looked at people became funny. People screamed when she said, "Yes, he was my boyfriend." She had gone from being very emotional to being very funny. She had no fear. After that, in 1977, she played Nurse Diesel in High Anxiety. She pulled her hair back and wore a tight black outfit. She was the scariest nurse anyone had ever seen. Some people said she was like Nurse Ratched, but funny. She didn't care what she looked like. It worked for her only. She leaned into every word and every scene. With all their heart. During the 2000s, she played Grandma Ida on Malcolm in the Middle. She was mean, sneaky, and memorable. It got her 2 Emmys. People couldn't believe how dark and funny she was ready to get in one episode called Bride of Ida. She wasn't a nice grandmother. A lot of people loved how scary she was. In 2008, Dancing with the Stars came along. She was 82 years old, which made her the oldest contestant the show had ever had. 2 times, producers told her she was too old, but she didn't give up. She got in the 3rd time. She danced for 4 weeks. She had asthma, high blood pressure, weak bones, and a painful bunion. It took her more than 2 hours a day, though. On national TV, she lifted one leg above her head at one point. Some people were shocked by what they saw. She told jokes. People laughed at her. She showed once more that her age didn't matter to her. She did voice work too, like in The Iron Giant, 1999. At that time, big stars were just starting to work on animated pictures. Cloris also didn't hold back. She gave her voice parts the same energy, weirdness, and honesty. She was always trying new things and pushing herself. She then played the lead role in Raising Hope from 2010 to 2014. She played Mau Mau, a crazy grandmother. In her 80s, she did physical comedy and acted out acts that most people her age would be scared to do. She wasn't done yet. She was going to tour with her one-woman show Cloris, but she put it off so she could dance on TV. She even planned to work on a movie with Brad Pitt and Quentin Tarantino in Berlin. She was still wanted by big directors. She didn't try to hide who she was. She was happy to show that she was born on April 30, 1926, on her website. Don't act fake. She told the crowd on Johnny Carson, "I play crazy characters, but I always come on here to show that I'm not that person." She said she was an ordinary Iowan woman from Des Moines. Every rule was broken by Cloris Leachman, and she laughed the whole time. She wasn't afraid of getting old or being judged. Nudity or being criticized. She was always honest in her work, whether she was crying in bed on camera, making horses whinny with just one word, or lifting her leg on live TV at age 82. That's why everyone always remembered her. Cloris Leachman's husband George England hurt her deeply when she found out she was pregnant. In the 1950s, the phone rang one day. Joan Collins was on the other end. She didn't talk or think about it. She told Cloris straight out, "I love George. He just left my house. What are you going to do?" Cloris was crushed while she was carrying their future child. It got too much with the stress and sadness. She lost the child. She still picked to stay with George. They had 5 kids and tried to move on over the years. But Joan Collins stopped the relationship too after finding out that George was still seeing Cloris. This wound never really got better, even though they were married in public. Forever, Cloris would think about the baby they lost and how mean that call was. After many years, another terrible event broke her world. Brian England, Cloris' 30-year-old son, was found dead in February 1986. In a cheap New York City YMCA room. He checked in using an address in California. It only cost $22 a day to stay there. His dead body was found on the bed by a maid. There were 2 bottles of medicine for ulcers close by. Those pills were said to be what it was. Cocaine was blamed by others. Brian used to be good-looking in films like The Prowler and Crazy Mama, but drugs had taken over his life. Cloris said she did all that she could. Even though she didn't want to, she couldn't keep him from going to jail. She told them in 2008 that she still thought about him every day. In her book from 2009, she didn't hold back anything. In it, Cloris talked about her crazy 1974 one-night stand with Gene Hackman. Both of them were in San Francisco making different projects. Something was in the air, she said. It was like a magnet pulling them together. They didn't even eat all of their food. They ran upstairs and made love right away. It was called epic by her. EA had also told her he loved her around the same time. He needed to lose 32 pounds first, she told him. He lost $29 and then got it back, and their deal slowly fell apart. Everyone was shocked by these stories. Even more so because Cloris had always played nice, clean roles on TV. Some people made fun of her for having to work and raise her kids. Cloris had 5 kids, but in the 1970s she was always going on trips for films and shows. She had to spend a lot of time away from home when she started the Mary Tyler Moore Show in 1970. Some neighbors, like Lorna Luft, saw it. One time, Lorna said that Cloris seemed more like a TV mom than a real mom. There were rumors that she would trust nannies to take care of her babies while she was away on location for weeks at a time. The norm back then was for moms to stay at home. The press often asked Cloris if her kids were in pain while she chased Emmys and roles. Cloris wasn't afraid to fight for what she thought was right, though. In the 1980s, her work to support vegetarianism shocked a lot of people. She tied herself to barns where animals were killed. For a PETA event, she wore a dress made of cabbage and lettuce one time. She was caught more than once for breaking the law and disturbing the peace. She even said that eating meat was like killing someone in interviews. Fans who liked her as America's TV grandmother didn't get why she was now wearing vegetables and getting jailed. Cloris didn't care, though. She meant what she said and said what she meant. The way she played roles made history. She was up for 22 Primetime Emmy Awards and won 8 of them between 1973 and 2006. She spoke out against gender-based award categories in her 1973 speech when she won for A Brand New Life. She said that separating artists by gender was unfair and out of date. "We don't have separate awards for tall and short actors," she told the crowd. Some thought she was ungrateful. Others called her brave. It was the middle of the women's liberation movement, and her words sparked a fire in the industry. After winning an Oscar in 1972 for The Last Picture Show, Cloris expected more respect. But when she lost in 1975 for Young Frankenstein, she lashed out. She said the Academy was just a sexist old boys club that gave awards to pretty faces, not real talent. She was furious that women's comedy roles were ignored. "They expect us to cry to win," she said. Her words caused a storm. The Academy president at the time said she was being unprofessional, but many actresses secretly agreed. In 1976, Cloris won a Golden Globe for Phyllis. Instead of thanking people, she used her time on stage to attack CBS. She said they tried to make her character boring and lifeless. She called out the executives by name. The room went silent. Her speech was censored on TV. Rumors later claimed that CBS blacklisted her. Her team denied it, but something had clearly changed. When she got her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1980, things didn't go smoothly either. She refused to kneel down for the photo. Her star was at 6435 Hollywood Boulevard, near a souvenir shop. She told reporters it was a terrible location. "I've won 8 Emmys and an Oscar," she said. "And they put me next to a junk store?" She stood with her arms crossed while officials begged her to calm down. She only left after 20 long minutes. In 1984, Cloris won a Daytime Emmy for her role in The Woman Who Willed a Miracle. During her acceptance speech, she turned the spotlight to women's rights. She spoke about the gender pay gap, sexual harassment, and the need for real change. "This award is for every woman told she's too old, too loud, or too much," she said. CBS got over 500 complaints that same day. Viewers threatened to boycott. Sponsors were upset. But Cloris didn't back down. Feminist groups called her a hero. Even at age 90, she didn't slow down. In 2017, she appeared in American Gods and caused a stir with a love scene alongside Ian McShane. After filming the kiss, she joked, "Is that it? No tongue?" At her 90th birthday on set, her cake read, "I'm fucking 90." And she told the crew to line up for sex, starting with the cute ones. The headlines were wild, but Cloris was having fun. From 2012 to 2020, she voiced Meryl on Bob's Burgers, adding her usual wild edge to the cartoon. Fans loved it. One Reddit user even said they didn't see Louise as a full character until they found out Cloris voiced Meryl. Even while battling health issues in the 2010s, Cloris stayed open and funny. She had osteoporosis and knee surgery in 2009. She called herself a bucket of noodles. Still, in 2008, at age 82, she competed on Dancing with the Stars. Her honesty about aging made people admire her even more. Cloris Leachman passed away on January 27, 2021, at age 94. She died at home in Encinitas, California. Her final movie, Jumped. Darling, had just been completed in 2020. Even in her last years, she worked non-stop. Tributes called her irreplaceable and celebrated her fearless spirit. She had spent nearly 70 years in the business. While others aged quietly, she danced, protested, cursed, and joked her way into history. After her death, some people claimed secret diaries were released, but there was no proof. What people really remembered was her voice, her fire, and the legacy she left behind. Meryl Streep and other actresses said Cloris gave them the courage to grow older without disappearing. She didn't just age, she took aging, turned it inside out, and made it part of her power. Back in 1971, she did something few over 40 actresses had done. In The Last Picture Show, she did a tasteful nude scene and won an Oscar. It opened the door for older actresses to be seen as sexy, real, and powerful. But that same year, something ugly happened. Playboy published stolen nude stills from the movie. Cloris supported Sybil Shepherd in a lawsuit that changed Hollywood. After that, actors had to give written permission before any nude scenes could be shared or published. By 1975, this rule became standard. Because of her, actors got real legal protection.